What we're going to do today is test the abrasive resistance of the coated single jacketed hose as opposed to a single jacket hose that has been encased in an abrasive sleeve. This is a standard burn building. It's pretty much any fire department is going to have this kind of training facility. So it's very likely that the overhaul line will be tested in a building exactly like this. One thing that I want to point out, this hose came in a cardboard box with packing. You can see here on all the folds that stick out the farthest that the actual coating has rubbed off. And that was just during shipping with no use on the line. I've bled the air out of this line and capped it. I'm going to do the same with the single jacket. I'm also going to wet down both lines because when they're operated they will be wet. All right, for ease of handling, I'm going to install a handle between the two. One thing you might notice, and you might say, well, this floor is not as rough as a residential house would be. That's true, but what you got to think about is not all of our fires are residential. We're going to be using the overhaul line in commercial buildings. Grainger is going to be a huge customer. Almost all of Grainger's customers are industrial, and this line will be used in factories, paper mills, all kind of places with rough flooring. But the important thing is fire departments train. We train a lot and we use our tools a lot. This is where, even though it is a little rougher than residential, this is where this hose is going to be dragged. So that's why we got to be in here doing this. We started the hose testing at 9 o'clock. It is now 6 minutes to 10. The hose actually failed at 9:25. I'd sent the cameraman home because I figured I was going to have a couple of hours of dragging this thing around. In 25 minutes I called him back, he came back, and now I'm going to show you what happened. Really a little bit surprising. Let's take a look at where it started leaking. The hose gave way, if you look, only about 18 inches from the coupling. You can see, and you can see there's another one, maybe not, but you can see that that wore through right there, but that's not a section that rubbed up against, that never came in contact with any of this or any of the other sharp features in the room. It's really odd to me. If you look, I'm going to pull this again and let him film. You can see that this really travels no more than a couple of feet, and that's where it gave way at. I haven't really gone through and taken a close look at the line, So you're here with me. Let's take a look at it. And I'm going to turn it off so we don't get wet. We got the both hoses all cleaned up relatively. We're going to switch to a very tight angle lens for you to see as much as I see, hopefully. Just a second, we're going to go through both hoses to see what the abrasion looks like. This is the male end, so I would not expect any wear here because I was holding it up off the ground. We've got some wear here, some abrasion. I can see, I hope you can, that the yarn, now here where it's starting to contact the concrete, you can see some pretty good wearing. And I don't even believe that was a full 25 minutes of dragging, because part of that I was drinking water, because you can see, if you look at it from the side, let me see if okay, you can see how a lot of the yarn is completely broken and standing up. It looks like, I mean, every one of those little fibers are broken and standing out, and then you can see some real wear patterns. There's one that got it pretty bad here also. What's amazing to me is that it did give out where it gave out. I was not expecting that. I would have thought it would have been inside, kind of in the middle, but you can see there's good abrasion all the way along this line. You can see that it's just pulled the yarns completely loose. Once again, seems like it's in, it wears the total circumference. I'm not sure why that would be.
Looks like it's also happening in the original folds.
Yeah, it looks like it might be some of the original folds predisposed that line to where it's wearing, because you can see it's about every foot or so. It's kind of nice that this is orange, because it is helping us to see, I think, a little better. Now you can see here, this is getting back, we're toward the female, and there's not a lot, there's the hole right there, but not a lot of wear around it. So I don't know if that, there's a little bit of wear right here, but where it broke seems almost an anomaly, but you could tell that there was enough abrasion on the rest of it that it was not far from having many more breaks. We're going to go and examine the black hose now with the abrasion sleeve. You can see though that this line has quite a number of places that wouldn't have made it much longer. We're going to start working on the black hose now. This is a black abrasion sleeve that is built for covering hydraulic hoses, where it has a lot of rub back and forth, like on the back of a tractor. So we're going to go through that and see how it did. Okay, we're going to start from the male end. So this is the part that I'd had close to my hand, so we don't expect any wear. So far, it being black, I would think that if it was pulling the yarn, there's a tiny place right here, very little. But the good thing with this, even if this does abrade, since it does not hold any water pressure, it's not likely, even if it wears completely through, it's not likely to leak. Also, since these two lines, the inner line and the outer line, are not connected, one freely floats in the other. So it's not going to be exactly, if it wears in one place, it's not going to be exactly in the same place the next time the line is charged. Got a little bit right here, a tiny tuft right here. Really no significant wear at all. It looks like that was an original fold in the material, but there's no abrasion. Little tiny, well, that might not even be big enough to consider. As you can see, it was a fair test. I did the same thing to both hoses. It was not anything strange that wouldn't happen to these hoses. I really don't have any agenda whatsoever. All I want is the best product that we can make and get out there to the fire service. Fire service is what I do for a living, and I care about what makes it to the guys.